Starting up with the Ducati Supersport S version. Extremely light clutch, great feeling on this motorcycle right from the word go. The seating position, I'm in love with this. You're not overly aggressive, you're balanced out pretty well. 810 mm seat height, the same as my Duke 390. I feel right at home, though the seat is kind of wider, so it does feel a bit higher than 810 mm, but let's imagine it to be around 820 millimeters on a narrow seat width. The seat is wider, so this 810 is very comfortable. I can still almost flat foot. I'm about 5 feet 8, 173 odd centimeters, so if you are even couple of inches shorter than me, it won't be a problem for you to ride this bike.
First of all, how did you like the bike in around town commuting?
Oh, amazing. It's super light, it's highly maneuverable, and the best part is that it's a super bike which you can ride every day, be it your work, in town, on the highways. I would differentiate between this one and an inline 4. Inline 4, as you know, that low down the revs, the power delivery is not much up there. This bike delivers 80% of its power as low as 3000 RPM.
And then there's the electronics, like the quick shifter kicks in at 4000 RPM, which makes it very usable.
Very convenient.
There is an up and down quick shifter on this bike. Yes, that is not even there in the 959 Panigale, but for this bike they have actually put an up and down quick shifter, and that only hits at 4000 RPM. So if you're shifting above 4000 RPM, you're gonna get that quick shifter. So let's just hit that quick shifter right now, because whoa, did you see that? This bike packs in such an amazing punch. I mean, the Desert Sled was 75 odd horsepower, which I was riding only a couple of weeks back, and this is 110. This is the Indian spec version, 110, coming at a low 9000 RPM. What I wanted to tell you is it feels a lot more than that, because this is a twin. There's a lot of grunt available, low and mid-range, an amazing feel on the mid-range.
In one way, I realized that a lot of people say that the quick shifter is only usable in track, but imagine you're doing 500 kilometers on the highway in a single day.
Yeah.
Not having to operate the clutch definitely makes you a little bit like comfortable and a lot fresh at the end of the day.
Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more. It really saves your, the pain that you have on your wrist, on your left wrist and all, and that says a lot. When the fatigue is lower, riding such a super sport bike, it gives you more fun.
And even the seat, it's wide, it's very comfortable. It's not very thick, by the way, but it has enough cushioning, and it is firm enough for you not to get those lower back pains, because if you have a very soft seat, I've seen that becomes an issue. The sitting position is just right for round town commuting, long touring, and then you can move back on the seat and go all aggressive. This touring windscreen is actually another boon. It is adjustable, and right now we are in the up position. There is a down position as well. So I just wanted to show you how tall it is. Like when you're tucking down, you get a lot of protection from the wind, and especially at this angle, it diverts the air. So right now we're in an urban setting, so I presume that it won't be that big a problem if you are using even a naked bike, but on the highways I can tell you that this will be an absolute gem.
And how about the lightness? I mean, it's what I felt that it was a very flickable bike around town.
The curb weight is approximately 200 kgs, and it's fantastic. I don't have anything else to explain that how convenient and how maneuverable.
It doesn't even feel that heavy, honestly.
It doesn't feel that heavy.
again using the quick shifter. I'm getting really used to this bike, and when I move back on mine, I presume that I will not like having to use the clutch again. Anyways, talking more about the electronics, it gets 3 power modes, and the full power, we are riding in the full power, that is the sport mode here, and it's 110 PS for the Indian version. For the European spec, it's 113 PS, so not much difference there, to be honest. But the power, I just tested it out on a low and mid-range. There is like a surge.
It has a 937cc engine. It doesn't feel the weight at all.
That's coming over from the Hypermotor 939, and
yes.
it's a single platform engine which is used in multiple bikes for the Ducati right now. I mean, you have a dual sitting posture. When you move back on the saddle, you can crouch down, but again, when you're sitting on a relaxed way, the foot pegs are not that rear set. The handlebars, though they're clip-on, they're somewhat raised.
So it's a very good package. Ergonomically, spot on.
So I guess it's a sport bike that you can take to track, and you can actually ride to track and not complain about it.
It's an all-rounder.
You don't need a truck to carry your bike to the highway.
Absolutely not.
As you've joined the Desmo Owners Club with your Ducati 1200S Multistrada Enduro version, if you were buying a Ducati Supersport from an owner's perspective, if you considered a purchase, then how would you use this bike?
Well, I am very emotional about the Ducati brand, so I wouldn't mind if I had loads of money. I've already spent 22 lakhs on my Enduro. If I had loads of money, yes, I would probably go for this bike too. And the difference is that the Enduro, I can't ride it to work. But this one, I can ride it to work every day. Occasional weekend trips where I can be on my own on this motorcycle.
This bike also, you have nice luggage options.
There is a nice luggage
so
option.
that comes from Ducati, and obviously their aftermarket, a lot of other brands will come up with it.
Yes.
It's very close to the R3, so if any of you viewers have actually taken the test drive of an R3, or if you own an R3, you would feel right at home. You jump onto the saddle of this bike and it looks big, but while you're on the saddle, it doesn't feel that big, and that we say that in a very positive thing. And obviously it's a pretty much attention grabber. While I was riding, I saw a lot of eyes. Obviously I was doing the morning stretch, so not a lot of people were on road, but I saw the motorists from all around looking at this bike, and it kind of has it's a new design, it's an all new design, but it has a few elements carried over from the Ducati Panigale, and it also has that single sided swing arm, that Ducati trademark, which even the 959 Panigale doesn't have.
True. And it has lots of, as you rightly said, lot of aftermarket accessories, as well as within Ducati it has got lots of accessories. So I was on urban mode today.
See, urban mode will always cut down the power on the top end. So how much is the cut? Like what kind of top speed you got, or what was the acceleration?
I did a ton, 110 something. The bike felt very smooth, very nice, but yes, as you are aware that in urban mode you will feel that your power is restricted, because it's 60% of the power.
It makes it more manageable, probably.
It's more manageable.
Maybe in a rain situation, that is what you want, because you don't want
absolutely. See, Ducati had before the urban mode came in, they had a rain mode. So what they have done, they have mixed both of them together. So the urban mode, in slippery condition, when it's raining,
you would want to switch it back. And if you're a new rider, if you don't have that much experience, but you're buying your first big bike, you're probably moving up from a 200 to maybe a 300cc motorcycle, and you don't want to take it to the full power mode immediately, I think the urban mode can be very nice for you to warm up and get set with the bike for the first month.
Exactly.
So that also helps for new riders to step onto the big bikes.
Exactly. See, I feel, I'm not exaggerating here, I feel that this bike could be even owned by someone who had been riding a Pulsar.
And Owen's up and down both on the front and back suspension, which is fully adjustable and fully customizable. I don't know why, when I ride normal other brand bikes, like, I feel kind of like they're set for heavier riders. But whereas on the desert sled and even on this bike, I'm really happy about how well it is damped for a lighter rider like me. Like, I'm about 60 kgs, I believe, more than 60 kgs. But you cannot be at a standstill RPM like 5000, you're maintaining that and you cannot use the quick shifter, then it's not working for me at least. But it is a very nice quick shifter, because when you're accelerating anywhere above 4000 it works. For the auto blipper, let's see if it works. Oh yeah, it works perfectly. Just used the auto blipper for the first time on my life, and I'm mighty impressed. I could actually feel that the clutch engaged for a microsecond and let me shift. That's what's coming up with motorcycle, guys. That's what's coming up. A little bit of information here. While the engine was on and the radiator was cooling, there was no heating, and now that I'm moving, obviously I cannot feel anything. But when I stopped down for those guys to catch up on the phone for where we need to go, there was considerable heating on the inner thighs, but that happened because the radiator was off and the engine was not getting cooled. But the moment you're moving or even stopping at a traffic light with the radiator on and the engine on, there was not much effect of heat events. And look at that dash. It's that minimalistic black and white, very clear, very visible in all sort of riding conditions, in harsh sunlight, and obviously now we're under the bridge in a shade, and it looks amazingly good. There is a heat meter which is showing that we are running at 107 degree F. Oh yeah, that's a little bit too hot here. The fuel meter, the speedometer, the RPM meter, even that ticks up. Look at those numbers light up as we move up. Now there's the dynamic traction control and the ABS. It's in mode 2 and the DTC is in mode 3. So this is the lowest traction. I can show you how to change the modes. You have to press the enter button and then you have to rock this switch. So let's switch it to urban mode and then long press this button, and now we're in urban mode. Okay, so the power delivery has changed in the touring mode. It is no longer as eager on the uptake. I feel almost the same amount of power, but the power delivery is more smoothed out right now. It's really a more mile muncher highway kind of an enjoyable bike, and the scary or thrilling fun that was this bike just a couple of minutes ago, now in touring mode feels a little different. And I guess a lot of riders will enjoy that, because not all the time you are setting that blazing pace around the track and doing those laps. So I'm impressed with the riding modes. Initially I was riding in the sport mode, and now we're in the second mode, and let's see what the acceleration can be in this mode as well. We're gonna test it out as soon as I have some clearing. Okay, throttle up. Oh wow, very flickable bike, very nice, adjustable. I love this bike. I wish we had some corners to put it through. Just an amazing motorcycle, guys. You guys have to test ride this bike, and if you're considering a Ninja 1000 or a Suzuki's, I don't even remember what that bike's called, but just test ride this bike. It might as well change your mind. I know Indians being a little bit of a fan of the inline four system, but this power delivery puts a smile on your face all the time, and I don't know why anybody would not like this kind of a power. That's the problem. Speed breakers everywhere. By the way, let's take a while to discuss about the suspension setup. It's surprisingly feels soft, and obviously it's an Öhlins. You can adjust it for the track. I believe it's set to soft. It's set to the comfortable mode. Oh, I just love that exhaust sound. I don't know how you cannot love this exhaust sound. And if you put an aftermarket exhaust like those Akrapovic systems that they have for these bikes.
if you know how to handle that power, put it to race mode and it'll fly. I mean, there it doesn't feel any less powerful than say the Triumph Tweetable, which I was riding a few days back, and actually feels way more powerful because
The
being
power
a
to weight
twin.
ratio?
Not really. Even Triumph is very light, but this being a twin, early on there is that mad surge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it's very much leaps and bounds ahead of the Triumph in power, but definitely it's very close, and I would put this bike a little bit higher, at least on the low range. On the mid range, I think the Triumph again catches up, and obviously on the top end, that bike will have more grunt, being a triple cylinder engine. But around town, these are very neck and neck bikes.
It's a very versatile bike.
So you would call it definitely an everyday super bike.
It's definitely what Ducati's version of this bike. I'm in sync with that. It's everyday super bike.
Is riding through some very, very nice landscape. It's all green, it's all very beautiful, and I think it gives me that opportunity to U-turn this motorcycle. And I must say that it is like any other sport bike. You have to do it very carefully, but the handle turns quite a lot, which makes it again very usable in street riding conditions. I think this has almost the same amount of handlebar turning as a Monster.
If you're gradually accelerating, or if you're on a higher gear with a lower speed, there your torque actually matters, and which we actually forgot to discuss. There is a lot of torque on this bike as well. It almost feels like one of those cruiser bikes when you compare the torques.
Absolutely.
And twins always have that advantage.
Twins will always have better torque and better pulling power. So this bike, no wonder that I would hands down I would recommend this as an everyday sports bike, as well as something that you can enjoy on weekend trips. It's all bases covered.
So you're really impressed with the bike, and
Yes.
I'm honestly.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm really impressed as a, I do a lot of this riding with super bikers, like guys on liter bikes, guys on hyper bikes such as the Hayabusa and the ZX14R. I've seen that the ZX14R and the Hayabusa owners are more comfortable on long tours on the highway, but the liter bikes, they really struggle, the riders really struggle after a couple of 100 kilometers. I think this is a sort of very practical bike which will match up with those guys, because see, on the highways we are not doing the top speed, we are doing cruising at around 100-120. So there this bike doesn't need to be all that more powerful, but it will stay with that group all the time. And still it will be lighter, more comfortable. At the end of the day, you will be fresh, whereas the liter bike owner will be at his limits.
Here I will add a famous quote from the movie Spider-Man, like, with more power comes more responsibility.
Yes, with great power comes great responsibility.
This bike will not make you ever think that it's too intimidating for you power wise, and you will be automatically responsible, because the way it will reach its red line gradually, I think the red line will be pretty linear for this bike compared to other 4-cylinder counterparts. So yes, it's a very good highway cruiser as well.
On that note, we'd like to end it with great power. Remember, comes great responsibility. And if you like this video, you are also responsible for hitting that subscribe button. We will do another episode on his 1200 Enduro, which is definitely a gem of a looker and even better off-road. So stick around, stay tuned for that video. For now, thanks for watching. This is Rahul. Goodbye.
Right safe.